The amount of hate CourageJD received on the 20th of August 2021 shouldn't have really shocked anyone, since if you were to really look into why people hated him in the first place, you would start to understand why CourageJD is considered to be one of the most misunderstood personalities in the gaming genre. At one point in his career, his high energy attitude was the sole reason why people grew to love him. He had a vibe you just couldn't find anywhere else, and as a result of that, people tuned into esports matches just to see him cast. But unexpectedly, after making arguably the most impactful decision of his career on March 2nd of 2018, the personality traits that once set him apart from his competition as a caster started to become cringe and unbearable to many now that he was a full-time content creator that represented himself. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet, since if we want to understand the CourageJD hate from an unbiased perspective, we would first need to jump back to his early days in the gaming world, because once you really understand the personality traits that played a huge role in making him who he is today, you would start to notice that it was those same personality traits that caused him to get cancelled multiple times in his gaming career.
Hey guys, what's going on? Courage here, bringing you my first ever video here today.
In the beginning, CourageJD was not special at all. He was just like any other kid that loved video games and everything that had to do with it. But if there was one unique aspect about CourageJD in his early days, it would have to be his esports obsession. Gaming as a whole was his life, and he knew that he wanted gaming to be his full-time career in the future. But unfortunately, he knew that the possibility of that happening was highly unlikely due to how little opportunities there were in that space at that time. But fortunately for CourageJD, on September 25th of 2007, one of, if not the greatest game of all time, would be released to the public, Halo 3. And due to the game being almost perfect for esports, CourageJD would finally build the courage to take his first step into the esports world. He would attend his first ever LAN event in 2009, and there he would befriend many prominent figures in the esports world, most notably Chris Puckett.
What's up everybody, I'm Chris Puckett,
the face of esports casting at that time. And from this point forward, CourageJD would dedicate his life to building a strong network within the esports world in hopes of turning his gaming dreams into a reality. And after years of being a well-recognized esports fan, CourageJD would finally be given the opportunity he had been eagerly waiting for. In the summer of 2014, the host of the MLG esports show would become sick, and as a replacement, MLG chose to give CourageJD the benefit of the doubt and allow him to take Chris Puckett's position for the day. To their surprise, he did a pretty good job, so MLG allowed him to be the co-host of their daily esports talk show until he had to go back to college at the end of the summer. Then a couple months later, in November of the same year, when Advanced Warfare would come out, MLG would decide to give CourageJD another huge opportunity. He would cast at an actual esports LAN event, MLG Columbus, and it was at this point in CourageJD's career where he would build the personality traits that would soon solidify his spot in the esports world. But like I stated earlier, it would also be the personality traits he would build at this point in his career that would cause him to get cancelled multiple times in the distant future. But excluding what we know today about CourageJD, in 2015, he was exceptional at casting. He was funny, he had lots of energy all the time, he knew how to make the matches feel a bit more entertaining when it was starting to get boring, and most importantly, he had a certain vibe no other caster had. While most casters were just casters, CourageJD was more accessible to the public than any other caster in the esports world. He vlogged at LAN events.
What is happening right now?
I don't fucking know!
It's so loud!
He uploaded gameplay videos to his personal YouTube channel.
Sitting here playing some Call of Duty.
And most importantly, he knew he had built a fan base, and even though he wasn't a full-time content creator, he acted like one. So when he would cast at live events, he would make it his priority to entertain his viewers. And as most of his fans knew that, they would show up to matches they probably didn't even care about just to see CourageJD cast. But just as his casting career was reaching levels he never thought it would ever reach, he was becoming more serious at building his own brand rather than just being a caster for MLG. In his free time, he would stream consistently and would post unique content to his YouTube channel, and for about 2 years, he would try to balance being a caster at MLG with being a content creator / streamer. And on March 2nd of 2018, the inevitable would happen. He would quit his job as a caster and would become a full-time content creator that would represent Optic Gaming from this point forward. Now, without a doubt, everyone who knew CourageJD knew that becoming a content creator was the correct decision for him to make at that point point in his career. He had reached his peak when it came to casting, and the timing for switching paths just felt right. It was clear that he had a love for creating content from the start, so the idea of being a full-time content creator didn't seem like a bad idea at all. And as pretty much everyone expected, his switch to content creation proved to be the right decision, as he was now becoming more of a mainstream personality in the gaming world rather than just an identity in Call of Duty esports. But if I was to say that CourageJD's switch to content creation was flawless, unfortunately that just wouldn't be true, since up to this point in the CourageJD story, he had a clear path on where he wanted to be in the future. But now that he took the unpredictable content creation route and would taste real popularity and all the rewards that comes with it for the first time in his life, it was clear as day to many that the idea of money and fame started getting to his head. And as months went by and the caster version of CourageJD was slowly being replaced with the new update gaming content creator version of CourageJD, his seemingly innocent personality traits that once set him apart from the hundreds of other casters he was competing with were slowly starting to become cringe and annoying to many, now that it was clear that he was trying to force reactions and drama for views and impressions rather than just doing his job as a caster. And when he switched to Fortnite and his audience quickly grew from a niche COD community to an audience of people from all sorts of different games, he slowly started to build a reputation of being an impression farmer that would do practically anything for views and money. And to make his situation a bit worse, the number of individuals who even cared about his past as a caster were slowly fading into irrelevance, as they were now being outnumbered by all the new Fortnite viewers that were just starting to get to know him. And later on, when he would try to reappear in the COD community, it was clear that there were a large number of people who hated him and would cringe every time he would appear on their screens.
I have attachments. I have AR class. I have SMG class. I have a precision rifle, like a marksman type rifle. I have a run and gun AR, and then I have a sniper SMG overkill quick swap class, so that I can be the Pomage I want to be on the inside, but the Scumpy on the outside.
And his reputation outside of his fanbase was only starting to become worse for him when he would make the mistake of calling out one of the most legendary names in esports for being broke financially after 100 Thieves would lose an esports match to Envy. And when Hastro would respond back to CourageJD saying that he doesn't care about views and money, CourageJD would then go on to only talk about views and money, even though that wasn't the original topic of discussion. And in the background, to the thousands of people that were witnessing this altercation live on Twitter, this incident reinforced many people's hatred for CourageJD because it was clear and solid proof that he only cared about views and money, and it was also becoming a bit more clear that he was forgetting about where he came from and how he got into his current position in the first place. And while drama here and there isn't a bad thing, especially in esports, it was at this point when people started to truly realize that CourageJD was starting to change for the worse. And 6 months later, in August of 2021, when he would switch to Apex Legends and hit the highest rank on the game in an extremely low amount of time, and would then go onto Twitter to call out his haters for being trash not once but twice, and then would go on to make an 11-minute long video trying to explain something as dumb as getting carried in response to a Reddit hate thread, and then would go on to livestream a solo to master grind, and then would go back onto Twitter to call out his haters once again. To say that people were getting fed up with him would be an understatement, since if you were active on social media in August and September of 2021, you would have seen the entire gaming world go all out on him. And while most people believe that getting carried was the main reason why people were hating on him, the true reason why he was getting cancelled was because of the way he reacted during this incident. To many people, this whole getting carried drama just felt like one big attention grab. Get carried to Apex Predator, then get people to hate you in hopes of stirring up drama, and then going on to livestream yourself hitting Master to prove your haters wrong, and then once again posting it onto Twitter and YouTube to get a bunch of likes and views. To his haters, it seemed like CourageJD was trying so hard to juice every single cent out of the pointless getting carried allegations. And while some may say that it is common for content creators to force drama here and there when their content is dry, for a person who was as respected as CourageJD during his time as a caster, going out of your way to create drama for content is the recipe for a disaster. And while he is still highly respected till this day and will be relevant for years to come, his personality will forever be one of the most misunderstood personalities in the gaming genre, because on one side side, his fans are well aware about the persona he plays in order to create content, but on the flip side, to his haters that don't really watch him enough to understand his persona, he seems like an arrogant, money-hungry, attention-wanting, impression-farming content creator that would do absolutely anything for views, likes, and money.